You're listening to I Love It When, and I'm your host, Mo. I'm a speaker, coach, and connector. You're in the right place if you're looking for some inspiration and you're ready to truly embrace who you are. My intention with this podcast is to help you see that you are so much more powerful than you realize. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of I Love It When. I'm Margaret Smith. I go by Mo, and I'm here with my friend Adriana Larson. And I am so excited for this conversation, not only for you all who are listening, but for myself. It's always a gift to spend time with Adriana. And the reason I'm bringing her on this podcast is, again, to provide you all with another perspective and something that has absolutely aided in my mental health and aided in my personal development journey in a way that I never knew it really could. And so I met Adriana through Kristen Wise of Wise Holistic Healing, who you all have met. And after I met Adriana, I had a session one-on-one with her, mind totally blown. And at that point, that was when Kristen, I think, had asked you to start hosting the full moon workshops.
Yeah.
So you were hosting the full moon, I was hosting the new moon, and we were attending each other's workshops and just getting to know each other more through there. And I just love your story. I love your approach. And I also, like we're going to talk about today, can absolutely feel your pure intentions, which is kind of what you need to have with anybody in life, but especially also in the spiritual world. Like, you just have to be able to discern kind of who you can trust and how to move forward with who you choose to work with. So before I get too far ahead of myself, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about your background and what you do?
Hi, I'm Adriana Larson. I am a stay-at-home mom. I have two amazing boys. I'm a wife, and I just kind of live life. I am so busy. My oldest does have autism, so I spend a lot of my days around his therapies and things like that. And then I do have a baby. And I actually have a background in science. I have a degree in clinical laboratory science. So I am what I like to call a lab rat. I stay in a lab and I do all the testing on all blood work, body fluids, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of funny because when people hear about what I do and they know that I'm a scientist, they're like, those two don't go together. They don't go together. And I think that's what helps me with what I do, because I am a scientist. I like facts. I like seeing things.
Mm-hmm.
I do research, and in all of my research and everything that I've gone through in life, it just proves what I do even farther.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having the scientific background actually aids in my mediumship work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love learning more from people like you. And it also reminds me of Joe Dispenza, who I have learned a lot from through YouTube. Like, it's a new way of explaining spirituality and the unseen that makes a lot of sense to people who are very logic-based.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People say, oh, well, you need to see it to believe it. Well, your blood, for example, so much is going on a molecular level that you don't see with the naked eye, yet you trust wholeheartedly that it's going to do the job and get you through the day. It's the same thing with spirit. Just because you're not seeing it with the naked eye, there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes that you don't see.
Yes. It's amazing.
It's just something else that you kind of have to just put your faith into and trust that they're going to get you through.
And then, like we'll talk about today too, there are things you can do to kind of play with it a little bit to help you build that faith and build that confidence. So, but I want to start out with when did you first recognize that you had a gift for mediumship?
It started when I was very young, very, very young. I remember one of my first memories was talking to my grandfather, who had just passed away. For some reason, I was calling him Papuli. I don't know why. And my mom said, like, I was so upset, and I kept saying, like, but he's here, I can talk to him. And my mom said she almost brought me to the doctors because she was like, this is not normal.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of resolved, and then little things as I got older, just like knowing when the phone was going to ring or having a feeling about something, what my mom would call as a worry wart. You know, I would be worried about going to something and I wouldn't go, something would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started really noticing it right after I graduated high school. I worked at a nursing home that, and nursing homes are just inherently haunted and just full of spirit. This nursing home used to be a fisherman's house, and the family, the mother and the children died in a hurricane, and the husband died after years later from tuberculosis.
Wow.
And one of my first brushes with it was a patient screaming about this man in a top hat, in a suit. And I could see him, but I could tell like she was, you know, she had dementia, so I didn't want to exacerbate it anymore. And the nurse said, yeah, she's about to pass away. I said, what do you mean? All patients who see this man pass away within 3 days.
Wow.
And then she did. And then it was little things like I would see this woman in white crossing the hallway, like from room to room to room. And just little things like that, little instances here and there. Um, and then I kind of just ignored it, completely just pushed it to the side.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a medium, a psychic party in like 2018 or 2019. And she looked at me and she was like, do you have like instances? Does a lot of paranormal stuff happen around you? Are you drawn to that? I'm like, oh yeah, 100%. She's like, how are your dreams? I said, my dreams are just very realistic. I get a lot of information through my dreams. And even when I'm talking to someone one on one, I'll get like this thought in my head
Mm-hmm.
that I have to say. It sounds like me, but it's not something that A, I would know, B, I would ever say.
Yeah.
And or sometimes it can come across as advice.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be like, oh, that's exactly what I would needed to hear. Or my so and so would used to say this to me all the time. So as I started getting more and more open with it, things started happening that were more concrete in the evidence, things that other
Mm-hmm.
people were able to see. I got really big into paranormal investigating. I
Mm-hmm.
live next to the Lizzie Borden houses. So I started off there, and I would get these feelings about the house, about the spirit that were there. And this is stuff that even that didn't have to do with what had happened in those houses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the information that I had was spot on. And this is stuff that no one really knew. Even
Mm-hmm.
the people that were running it had to do research on the stuff that I would tell them. And yeah, and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I need to do something. This has been really bothering me. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
where to start. I actually got a past life reading that kind of confirmed
Yes.
a lot. I had it with Anne, who is fantastic, and you just had her on.
Yep.
And she confirmed a lot for me. And then it was like a ripple effect. I met with Anne, and then I met with Kristen, and I was starting to get, messages for Kristen. And I think it was like the first or second time I had ever met with her.
Hmm.
I was getting messages from her grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just got with this amazing group of people who were so encouraging and so uplifting and really helped me build my confidence to just go for it and jump in. And I started doing it with tarot card readings. And then I started with the mediumships, and the rest is Rest is
Amazing
history.
history.
Yeah.
Um, you might have answered this, but can you share your story with how your gift appeared and why you stepped away from it for a while? So you talked about that a little bit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the gift appeared, with like imaginary friends,
Mm-hmm.
things like that, feelings. And then, you know, in school, kids are mean. Kids are not nice, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you're different. And I lived in a very small town. I went to a Catholic school, and there are not many people like me, ethnicity wise, things like that. You don't want to be the different kid. You want to do
Mm-hmm.
everything in your power to blend in. So that's what I did. I ignored it. I pushed it away. It was almost like a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
I just need to get through these, X amount of years. And then once I graduate, then I'm done. And then I can explore things that I really want to explore more.
Yeah.
So, and then, life gets busy and you kind of forget about it. And then it was actually one of the things, besides meeting with Anne, what prompted the meeting with Anne was my son. He was about 3, and he has at the time he had a speech delay because of the autism. And I could hear him babbling, and I walk in his room and said, "What are you doing, buddy?" And he pointed to the corner of the room and he says, "It's Grammy." And this was my grandmother who passed away. He had never met her. She
Wow.
was already in Florida. She had dementia really bad. And I looked at him, I said, "What?" And he said, "It's Grammy." And then just went back to playing. And my first instinct was, oh no, like we're not doing this. I'm not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
No. And then it was, well, I need to teach him not to be afraid. I don't want him living his life if he's going to be seeing this afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, well, I need to figure out how to do my stuff before I can help him out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was just my motivation behind it was helping my son. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even building a business. It wasn't
Okay.
making money. It wasn't any of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a happy coincidence,
Mm-hmm.
and not even a coincidence. It's a happy series of events that
Yeah.
has led me to where I am. But my main core of it was, I need to figure this out. I need to figure out how to control it so I can
Mm-hmm.
help him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not afraid if he sees
Yeah.
something. Because at the time, my entire life, I'd always believed in spirits and ghosts and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm not going to tell him it's not real. I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
tell him because to me, it is real.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to have him embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be to the point where it's just life.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's nothing to fear. It's nothing
Yes.
to, you know, walk on eggshells around.
Mm-hmm.
You can live your life and be okay with what's going on around you.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. It's so brave of you to do that. And also, what an interesting idea that I feel like Austin, part of the reason he is here was to help you do that for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
and that just gives me, I have to say, like, you're one of the people who has given me permission. Like, you've helped me give myself permission to continue to explore this because I've always been, before I'd even met with a psychic, the first one I met was in Louisiana when I was there for a conference with
Mm-hmm.
Keller Williams. And I hadn't been told growing up that it was evil or demonic or anything, but that was the sense that I got from movies, TV shows, was that it was something to be afraid of, and it was like
Mm-hmm.
don't go near that, or you that that's bad. You could be labeled a witch. You could be labeled all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And so I have to say, like, you're one of those people that has helped me move past that because it is a part of life. It is
It is.
absolutely a part of life, and if we continue to ignore it, it's not doing us any good.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me how much I've learned since I've been exploring spirituality. how much like the government and all of these huge corporations have utilized psychics and never speak about it publicly.
Never. I think the CIA has just started releasing
Okay.
documentation showing proof of things like extraterrestrial
Mm-hmm.
beings and, you know, things like psychic abilities
Okay.
and the clairvoyance, all of that stuff. They're
Mm-hmm.
now releasing documentation showing that, yes, it is real. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, we do recognize it.
It's amazing. So I'm wondering if you can share with people, how would you describe how you interact with spirit? What do you see? What do you hear? What's that experience like?
So every medium does it differently, every single one. The way I do it, especially when I was first starting off, I would scribble to help me just like focus. But everything I see, I hear is all internal. It's all like in my
Okay.
mind's eye, in my head. I can feel a lot. So, for example, when someone died, they were having heart problems, or if they were having trouble breathing, I can feel that. Um, but when I talk to them, it's that internal monologue.
Mm.
It's having a conversation, but in my head,
Okay.
essentially.
Okay.
Um, and I feel everything off of energy. So I can tell the difference between a man's energy and a woman's energy, a mother's energy versus a father's
It's
energy.
amazing.
Um, like depending on the type of grandmother energy and mother energy can be very similar. Same with grandfather and father.
Mm.
Um,
And you can kind of sense where they are in a room too. Cause I remember we've been in
yes.
workshops where you've said to me, like, my fairy godmother's sitting back there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I can see. I was at a store and I was talking to this woman and I was like, you're going to think I'm crazy, but do you believe in mediums? She was like, oh my God, yes. And I started talking to her about her grandmother. And I said, she's over here by these like knickknacks. She really, really likes these. And she goes, oh my God, she used to collect these. So it wouldn't surprise me.
yeah.
Um, so it's funny because so for example, I'm looking at you through the screen, but in my head, it's like, it's from looking at you, it's projected in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I might not see them. Like I can't physically see them. But in
Okay.
my head, I have a lot of medium work that I do. It's a lot of visualization.
Mm-hmm.
It's that I can close my eyes and say, okay, I have a computer in front of me. I have the electrical panel over here. I have a weight bench over here. And by being able to do that, I can do it for you in your room. So I can say, okay, yes, she's standing over here underneath
Mm-hmm.
the Wonder Woman painting. And also, some spirit will stand behind you depending on where they fall. For like example, on your family tree.
Mm.
So it's maternal on the right side, paternal on the left side.
Mm.
And someone, for example, like if an in-law was extremely close to you and you looked at her like your mother, she would almost stand like right in the middle.
Okay.
So there's a lot of like
Interesting.
positional stuff when it comes to that. But that's not even really necessary in figuring it out who is who. This is just little things that I've figured out that works for me
Okay.
as I've been doing this.
Okay. Can you walk us through like how a session with you goes? What could people expect if they were to book one with you?
Oh yeah. So it's very casual. It is extremely
It's kind of
casual.
like this, like having a
It's like this.
conversation with you.
It's very
Yeah.
much a conversation. I have been to mediums before and it can be very intimidating. They've
Yes.
got the crystals and the incense going, which I love. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm a mom of two, and so my life is crazy. So this is kind of what you get. So, we sign on. I always like to give, it's like my housekeeping that I kind of, my housekeeping spiel before I start a session.
Mm-hmm.
So like we have our A-listers and our B-listers. Our A-listers are grandma, grandpa, my best friend. And then you've got B-listers, who is my husband's aunt's cousin,
Mm-hmm.
that you're thinking, why the heck are they even
Yeah.
popping up?
Yeah.
It's these
But
people,
they do.
but they do. And they do
Yeah.
because they might not be directly for the person I'm reading, but they're for someone that they know.
Mm-hmm.
And they know they can give them a message.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I go over that. I go over, tell them I'm human. So if something doesn't resonate or you don't connect with something, please tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell me. This is a
Mm-hmm.
service you are paying for.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to be satisfied. There are going to be things that I do say. It might not resonate right this second, but give
Mm-hmm.
it a few days
Mm-hmm.
and it'll start to make sense.
Yeah.
Um, I also tell them, listen, if I say, hey, I'm feeling like you might be leaving your job soon, or this
Mm-hmm.
relationship is on the rock, don't go breaking up with the person or quitting your job because the crazy medium lady told you to.
Mm-hmm.
The beautiful thing about life is we have free will.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very unpredictable.
Yeah.
So I can have a feeling, but there are outside sources and outside, you know, um, influences
Mm-hmm.
that can change things up.
Yeah.
We have us as human beings, we have autonomy. And my goal is to never dictate or tell somebody this is what you need to do or what
Yeah.
you're doing is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
My goal for these readings is to A, help you closure or help with healing,
Mm-hmm.
and B, give validation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you are on the right path, or,
Mm-hmm.
what are your other options?
Mm-hmm.
So I like to have these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And what's great is your spirit, your loved ones in spirit will
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
and they have their opinions.
Mm-hmm.
They are just as opinionated as everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And spirit never wants to see you suffer. They only want to help you be happy and successful.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, sometimes the news that they have for you might not always be great in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something that might be good for you in the long run.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is also part of what has helped me to discern, because I have definitely met with enough mediums now to tell pretty quickly, oh, not really mixing well with this person,
Yeah.
or there's something off here. And it typically, when that happens, it's because they've said some, like I did have one woman who said, there's a fragment of your soul that's still missing with a previous relationship that you have. I have this $750 session that you can purchase to help retrieve that part of your soul if you like. And I was like, I've never been told that before. And I've noticed that about people that have pure intentions is, well, yes, obviously I pay to use your services, but you never try to convince me of anything. You never try to tell me this is what you need to do. If anything, I'd say it's very similar to a coaching session. It's about you using spirit to show me all the opportunities, all the possibilities. It like opens up my mind.
Exactly. And that's what I want to do. I am never going to, and I've had a medium say that to me, oh, you're cursed. It's going to be $500 to lift the curse, and you have to carry around the special rock, and you have to drink the smoothie twice a day. Like, no. To me, what I do is very special, and it helps a lot of people, and that's what I want to do. I will say ethics is a huge Huge component in what I do. Um, I never do anything without permission. And I do, depending on what I have to say, I do tell people, listen, if you are not comfortable talking about this, please tell me and we can not talk about it. I never want to be intimidating. And that's the other thing. It can be very intimidating. I remember one of my first mediums I ever went to. I'm like, oh my God, they're just going to tell me everything bad. It's only going to be bad news. I mean, and it wasn't all bad, but I want people to walk away from a session with me feeling better and feeling hopeful and feeling,
it's very empowering, I would
empowered. That's what I want. It's, you are going to, there are mediums all over the place now. Now with TikTok.
Yes.
They're not even a dime a dozen. Like they're everywhere.
They are.
And, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm better than Joe. I'm better than this person. I'm better than that person. I leave it up to my client to make that decision. And I'm very lucky to have a lot of repeat clients that come back to me, but I will never also be like, oh no, I'm the only person you can see. No, I want you to go explore. I want you to see, because my way of reading might not be for you. You might like someone else's way of reading, or
different people might come. Like my grandfather, my dad's dad, really appears to like you. So
he's great.
He only comes through you.
Yeah, he's great. I love him. He's hilarious. And now, and what's great is once I connect with one person, when I meet with them again, their people come back a lot easier. It's like, not only do I build a relationship with the Here Body people, I build a relationship with their people also.
It's really amazing.
Which is great.
What kinds of questions can people bring to you, just to give people an idea?
Anything and almost anything and everything. I will be upfront. I am not the biggest fan of like pregnancy questions or fertility questions, because I am not a doctor. I am not a doctor. I'm not a fertility specialist. So that's some that, because I never want to give also false hope.
Sure.
So to me, those questions, there are, I will say, some fantastic readers out there who their specialties are fertility and pregnancy.
Okay.
I can be completely honest and say that is not my specialty. Don't come and ask me what the lottery numbers are. I don't know. Because let me tell you something. If I did know, you wouldn't be staring at old mattresses and pillows behind me. But besides that, anything really.
Okay.
I might not be able to answer, like, is my boyfriend cheating on me? I don't know. But I can also tell you that energy isn't great there. Like, something feels off about the relationship. Do with that information what you will. Don't ask me if I know when or how someone is going to die. I don't know.
No, I feel like to give you guys some examples who are listening, like whenever I see Adriana, I like open-ended questions. Although if I have specific questions about people who have already passed, like something that happened in their life, like if I wanted to know something about my grandfather, I feel like I could ask you that. But I'll ask open-ended questions about like, hey, with these things that are going on in my career and my job and my business right now, should I continue doing what I'm doing? Like, what are you feeling about the energy of my business, or what's going on with these family members?
I do enjoy those kind of questions, those open-ended, like, how do you feel about this? Where should I go with that?
I mean, I asked you about this podcast before I started.
Oh, yeah. I remember having this conversation about this podcast, and I was like, you need to do it. I also remember, I think, honestly, like the first 3 times we met, I was like, you need to touch a tree. You need to just go out in nature. some of the advice can come off as a little wonky and a little out there, but
But it's
there's a
funny because
method to my
oh
madness.
yeah, I had heard the exact same message from a different medium. And
Hmm.
because it helps me to release energy. And
Yeah.
so, and it was my grandmother always comes through and says that. And so it may sound funky, but I'll tell you, for those of you that are listening, this is where you have to be willing to try things, be open to doing something completely different and random. And you just never know what's going to
Yes.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing. And, you know, again, spirit wants to help.
Hmm.
They want to help. And I've had people say, oh, well, I know when they were alive, they didn't like this or they didn't like that. When they pass away, in my experience, they only want what's best for you.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Like, I've had people who have been part of LGBTQ and their grandparents coming through, and they're like, they are so proud of you. And they're like, really? Because when they were alive, they were totally against it. When they pass
Hmm.
away and, when they're up there in the universe, they have this 2020 vision now.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm so glad that you said that because I've had that experience just through other people that I know who have had people who have passed. And it's like, as soon as they pass, it's like this awareness comes to them. And I think it's because
Hmm.
we're all one. So
Yeah.
we go back into source and we're all a part of the same. And it's like
Hmm.
they realize, oh, we are the same. We are,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the little things, the little petty things that we deal with
Hmm.
down there,
Hmm.
yes, while they were alive, they may have, figuratively, that was the hill they wanted to die on.
Yeah.
They had this opinion and they were sticking to it.
Yeah.
They're up there, it doesn't matter to them anymore.
Yeah.
You know, um, I can tell, maybe they might not have been the greatest person while they were alive,
Hmm.
but they let all of that go and they kind of see the error in their ways.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. My next question is what's like, if you're able to share it, what's the craziest thing that's happened in a reading?
Um, I did a reading for a coworker, and her grandmother was coming through, and she was holding the hand of this little girl. And I'm like, again, I don't know if it's going to be you or a family member, but they've got this little girl ready to go. She was like, oh yeah, it's probably not going to be me. And then read her mom like a month or two later. I'm like, this little girl is here. She's ready. I don't know who it's for, but probably, I don't know, 6 months later, I found out she's pregnant with a little girl.
Wow.
I've had a few of those, and just, random things. Like, for example, in the new moon last night, I was reading one of the attendees and I said something like, oh, grandma said you can talk to her while you scoop mint chip.
Yes, mint chip ice cream.
Yeah. And she was like, oh my God, that was her favorite ice cream. It's just little things like that. I
Yeah.
love things like that more than any like humongous, big,
Yeah.
crazy things, just
Yeah.
because
Well, they're so specific and
exactly.
yeah, they're like little messages like this is real,
Hmm.
this is me. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. What do you wish everyone knew about spirit and about mediumship?
That's a good question. Um, so about spirit is now, and I know I already said this, they do want what's best for you.
Yeah,
They
that's a
just
good
want to see
message.
you happy and they want to see you succeed and they want to see you living your best life.
Mm,
And then something about mediums is, you know, we're real people. We're
mm,
humans. We make mistakes. Just like you can have a bad day, we can have a bad day.
mm,
It's we make mistakes. We might not connect to the right person or,
mm,
connect to the person that you want us to connect to or don't doesn't give that detail that you want to hear. Um, so just be a little forgiving. Tell them
yeah,
in a nice way.
yeah,
Um, But I am also big enough to say, listen, that wasn't my greatest. Please let me try again.
Oh yeah, you're always very aware. And there's never been a time though that I met with you where you didn't deliver, like where I didn't feel
Oh,
like
thank
my,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you. I
Um,
Part of it is knowing yourself and knowing like, okay, I'm not having a great day. I
mhm.
am not having a good day. I'm not going
Oh
to be
yeah.
able
And you have
to.
done that before where you've said,
I
hey,
have.
can we cancel the reading today and do it another?
Yeah,
And yeah,
exactly.
yeah. How do you deal with, have there been spirits that scare you? How do you deal with having boundaries? Because I think that's the piece that scares most people.
In the beginning, it was
Yeah,
very overwhelming.
yeah.
Very overwhelming. It was like I was just an open door. And it was every Tom, Dick, and Harry was just coming on through, and to the point where I couldn't even, I'm going to the grocery store and I have spirits in my ear, or I'm at the chiropractor and this woman's grandmother is like, hey, psst, you see her? You need to go talk to her right now. Like, so I've just learned to say no, no, especially if I have a reading.
Mhm.
It used to be almost the minute that person would confirm, they would already start.
Wow.
And I would have to say, it's not your time yet. You can hang out, but it's not your time. So I will let you know when it's your time,
Yeah.
and then you can talk to me.
Wow.
I do set rules because I do this for my house. Again, this is not for everybody, but I set rules. These are my
Mhm.
rules, A, B, and C. You can follow them. If you choose to follow them, great. Welcome. Have fun. But if you don't, I kindly ask you to exit.
Mhm.
You have to be authoritative without being rude and mean, but you can tell them you are in charge. You are the one in charge. You can say, nope, I'm not dealing with you. Get out.
Has that having to do that and create those boundaries, does that help you with humans then too, with the here body? I feel like it would.
I I have a weird thing with boundaries. It's getting better. It's getting better.
Yeah.
I think it's so much easier, at least in my case, with spirit,
Well, I
because
guess they don't
they
argue.
listen.
Really, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
all right,
Hmm.
because they also know if they have a good relationship with me and they listen to what I need, I will listen to them and I will
Hmm.
do my best to get their message to whoever they need it for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I also I've connected to a lot of kids who have passed away through
Hmm.
this. And I think because I am a mom, they feel very comfortable around me. So
Hmm.
I also have to give them roles and say, listen, you can stay. Do
Yeah.
not wake my kids up at night. You are not allowed to play with them at night.
Yeah.
Please. For the
Oh, yeah.
love.
We got to let them sleep.
You got to let them sleep. So,
Does Spirit have a message for the audience who's listening to this podcast?
oh, yes. So, one of them, and I feel this so overwhelmingly, is you have to give yourself grace. I am feeling so much of this like external pressure.
Mm,
I feel like we live in a society where, and I've said this to
yeah.
you before,
Yeah.
that just if you're not physically doing something, you're not being productive.
Yeah.
We're in a time right now, it's okay to rest.
Oh,
I
this
don't
is
know,
such a
you
good
know,
message.
I don't know who needs to hear it. I don't know.
Everybody.
I'm sure, you know, they're giving you the permission to slow down a little bit. We're
Hmm.
approaching fall, we're approaching the colder
Hmm.
seasons, depending on where you are. And it's okay to slow down. You want to slow down and really be present. Start being more present in your day to day, whether it's with your kids or you go out or you go for a walk.
Hmm.
Try to be present. Put the phone down and just
Yeah.
be there.
Hmm. I love that
So,
message. I think you gave the same message to one of the attendees last night at the New Moon.
yes.
And just so you know, she sent me a text message today with a little video and said, "Hey, can you please send this on to Adriana? I took a nap today."
Yay.
And
Good
actually, her
job.
husband actually said to her, "I'm bossing you around right now. Go take a nap. Like, go." And it
Yes.
seems like such a small thing, but it's really not when we're
It's
all just
not.
conditioned to go, 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 go all day long with
It's
everything.
it's crazy, and it's funny because I actually took a nap today too. And I woke up and I was like, this is great. This is great. Oh my God. We are so conditioned. We have this like mentality where we need to be doing something at all
Mhm.
times.
Yeah.
At all times, whether it's
Yeah.
working or housework or an activity. It's to the point where I feel like some people are almost uncomfortable not doing anything.
Oh, for sure. A lot of people are
I know
very uncomfortable. I know
so many
myself at
people,
times too. Yeah.
I'll be like on the
It's
weekend and I'm like,
physically uncomfortable.
yeah, I'm not doing anything. And I'll be talking to someone, they're like, I am so bored. I'm like, this is great. It's called relaxation. We're relaxing. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay, and yeah, so this is everyone's permission slip to just
I
stop.
love that. Yes.
Stop for a second.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, whatever you are doing will still be there.
Yeah. Always. All right. Wanted to jump in with you guys and just share what it's like for a few minutes of what it's like to have a session with Adriana. And so I told her to go ahead and if she had any messages for me from people that are around right now to share that, just so you guys can see what it's like.
So you'll see me when I do this. I kind of like look off screen. Um, and that's just because I'm trying to connect and see what
Okay.
they have to say. So the first person that's coming through is Margaret. Okay. And she's really funny because I had a message for you yesterday from her.
Yes.
And first she's like, have you thought about it at all? She wants you to know that your prices right now, she doesn't think you should drop them a ton.
Okay.
She's saying the only reason why she's saying to adjust them at all is because she
Mm.
really wants you on that trip.
Okay.
She really wants that. Um, she's funny. I don't know if she traveled. Did she travel a lot or
She
was
didn't
she
get to when she was here.
I
She does
think
now.
yes, because she didn't get to, she's not shy about it. She's like, I want her to do it. She
Yeah.
wants you to do it.
Okay.
Um, so she wants you to take those opportunities that it's going to get you out of where you are
Mm.
to go explore.
Okay.
She also is saying, and this is something that she's she keeps showing me. I don't know if it's like a trip to another country. I keep seeing like Thailand. I don't know if it's like Thailand or
Mm.
Bali or like somewhere around that area.
Okay.
Um, she's like, I'm not sure when it's gonna happen, but just kind of keep a lookout. Just,
Okay.
keep your eyes
I would love
peeled.
that.
Um, I also, so I do have Miss Fairy Godmother who is here, and she's saying you need to get out more
Okay.
outside.
Okay.
I feel like you've
Yes.
been kind of slacking on that.
It's true. Oh my God.
Okay.
Yes, completely.
Okay.
Like I haven't touched a tree in a while.
Okay. You need to get outside.
Okay.
She says barefoot, preferably.
Okay.
But she's like, even if you just go outside for a couple minutes or you go outside and you read, you do something.
Okay.
Just take in the fresh air. You've been
Okay.
cooped up for too long.
Mm.
She's like, it's starting to feel a little claustrophobic-y.
Yes.
I also, and now by this point, I've read you so many times,
Family's showing up. Yeah.
your whole family showing up. And Mr. Robert, who is hilarious. He is so funny.
I'm so glad to know that. Yeah.
He's hilarious. And So he's still so blown away by like, to him, you are smashing through like all these, in his time, these non-conformative situations.
Yeah.
So first he's asking, so this is like radio, right? But people, I'm like, yes, but people can actually watch. So he's like, so
Yeah.
it's like TV. He's not really grasping the concept.
Yeah.
He wants you, so this is actually a message for your dad.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know, does your dad fish? Or does he?
No, not regularly, but I think he said that the last time is
Okay.
fishing would be a good hobby for him.
He's like, he needs to get outside also. Like he
Okay.
needs to get outside.
Yeah.
And not even like a hobby, just do something fun outside. He's like, he
Okay.
needs to, I don't know if any like carnivals or fairs are coming up
There is
around
one in
you.
Washington right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
He needs to go.
Okay.
He needs to have fun.
Yeah. He loves to have fun.
Just feel like a little kid again. That's it.
Okay.
Have some cotton candy. Have some carnival food. Just almost like connect with his his younger self.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's like,
thank you so much.
he wants to see him smile and laugh. All right.
Okay.
So
I love that. Thank you. I'm not going to keep you going because I could listen to you and
I could keep
book
going.
a session with you right now.
I could totally keep going. Your people are I'm so comfortable with them. They're so comfortable with me.
Very comfortable with you.
They, they love to joke, and it's great because I can totally feel all the love and pride they have for you, which that's one of the best feelings.
Thank you. So if somebody wants to book a call with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yes, I have a website. It's www.mysoulsjourney11.com. Okay. I am also on TikTok and on Instagram.
We'll make sure all your handles are in the description. Yep. Yeah.
And yeah, you can DM me. You can book through my website. Whatever anyone is comfortable with. I have people that come to me that are at various levels of technology comfortableness. So I try to make it as easy for everyone.
You do. You make it very easy.
So whatever way you're most comfortable with contacting me.
And just so people know too, this is not your full-time gig. Like you're not doing this all. So I like that you have specific times. You're not doing 20 readings a week. You've been doing like maybe 3 a week max.
I try. Yep. Ideal is like 1 or 2.
Okay.
With the kids, and it's great because this 9 o'clock, I'm on the East Coast, so 9 o'clock is great because the kids are in bed and they're not running around. Because I am a mom, I have my kids and my husband. I want to be able to enjoy them.
Yes. I love that about you. They're great boundaries there.
Yes.
Good example. All right. Well, to end with this, I'm going to have you back in the future. So we know this is not the end of this conversation, but for tonight, what's your favorite I love it when for right now, for life?
I love it when the universe puts people in my life that it knows that I need and that I can learn from.
That's a great one. New mentors and teachers all the time.
Yeah. I have met so many amazing people, and I'm so thankful for every last one of you.
Yeah. Oh, well, we're thankful for you.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you for coming on here and sharing your story and being willing to share this with my audience, because this is a big part of my life now, and you've given me permission in a number of ways, and I want to give the people that are watching permission to explore and add you and your skills and talents into their life, because it's definitely had a huge impact. I know not just on me, but for other people that you've helped. Thank you so
much. Thank you. I really appreciate that.